Hey guys, welcome back to day three. We're gonna finish up the notes from the first part of section 811 here. So we're gonna kind of go through that table that we see with all the different polynomials and talk about whether or not each polynomial is in factored form or in standard form, and also determine the degree and the leading coefficient for each one of these polynomials that we see here. Before we start, I want to talk about a couple of things. First off, the discussions on MyOpenMath are going great. Thank you to everyone who is posting in there. Believe it or not, a lot of people are reading those, even if they're not posting, and it's helping them understand the material. Those discussion boards are super helpful for everyone that's trying to learn this stuff from home. So please don't be shy about posting in those discussion boards, all right? It's not about getting things right or wrong. It's just about getting you guys talking about math because the more you talk about it, whether it's right or wrong, the more you learn about it. All right. So continue posting in there, read my responses, reply to my responses. Make sure that you are responding to, two of your classmates just to generate that discussion and keep it going. All right. So there's a new discussion piece every day. Um, Other things we're gonna have a new set of notes for tomorrow on day four that you'll need to print out. So we'll have a new document that we'll be working from, and I'll get that posted sometime today as well. All right. So awesome job so far. Keep up. Just like I said, 30 minutes a day is all I'm asking for here. 10 minutes for the video, 10 minutes for the couple of problems that I want you to practice, and about 10 minutes for the discussion board. All right. So just keep up that daily routine. I don't really care what time of day you do it at, but just keeping up with 30 minutes a day of math is going to keep you guys ready for when and if we do come back to school. All right. So let's talk about some of these polynomials here. So let's take a look here at polynomial one. So you'll see how it says P1x. That means they're referring to this first polynomial here. And you just want to take a look at it, determine whether or not it's in factored or standard form. And this is clearly going to be in factored form. We see the parentheses. Everything we see in here are factors that are being multiplied by each other. So I'm going to go ahead and just start filling this in. This is factored here. And then we want to determine the degree. All right, so this one's kind of tricky. So you'll notice it's got an x minus 2. Right, I'm just going to rewrite this a little bit. And then this x plus 5 is here, but it's being squared. So what that means is we have an x plus 5 times an x plus 5. And while in the beginning it might have looked like we had two parentheses here, we actually had three factors because they had condensed this one into one using an exponent. So we actually have three factors with an x in it, which means that we have a third degree polynomial. All right, leading coefficient, when we're in factored form, the leading coefficient will always be this number that's sitting out front of that first parentheses. Since there's nothing there, we get to assume that it's a 1, so our leading coefficient here is going to be a 1. All right, so that's kind of the idea of what we're doing with these problems. What I would recommend that you do at this point is pause the video, take a look at polynomial 2, fill these in. Don't worry about being right or wrong. Just fill in what you think they are, and then resume the video and see how you did. All right, so go ahead and pause the video now. All right, welcome back. So here we got polynomial 2. Let's see how you did. We're going to start with whether or not it's in factored or standard form. This is factored, all right? So the factors are 2, x minus 2, x plus 2, and x minus 3. So we got four factors. So I'm going to go ahead and put factored form here. And the degree, right? The degree means when we're in factored form, we count the number of linear factors. Linear factors are the factors that have an x in it. All right, so this one is a linear factor because it has an x, just a plain old x, not an x squared or anything, just a plain old x. This one is a linear factor, this x plus 2, and this x minus 3 is a linear factor. So we have three of them, which means this is a third degree polynomial. All right, the 2 is a factor, but it is not a linear factor because it does not have an x. All right, but that 2 is important because it tells us that the leading coefficient is 2. That number out front this time is a 2. All right, so go ahead and pause the video again. Let's take a look at polynomial 3 this time, see how you do with polynomial 3, and resume the video when you're done. All right, so polynomial 3. This one is in standard form, right? We don't see all the parentheses. Things are being added and subtracted in this one. So I'm going to write standard form. And to determine the degree in standard form, we have to look at the terms, right? So the terms, we have three terms here. These are our three terms, not factors. These are terms. And we look for the term that has the highest exponent. So that's going to be this one right here, this x to the fourth. So because it's being raised to the fourth power, this is going to be a fourth degree polynomial. All right. Leading coefficient in standard form, we go to the highest degree term again. So we go to this x to the fourth, and the number that is out front of that x to the fourth, the coefficient attached to that one, is a 1. So its leading coefficient is going to be a 1. All right. So pause the video. Try polynomial number 4. See if you can get that one. All right, let's see how we did. So I'm looking at this one. This one is in factored form. We have all the parentheses. Everything is being multiplied. Okay, so our factors are here, x plus 3, x plus 1, x minus 1, and x minus 5. Notice that the x plus 3 is being squared, so there's actually two x plus 3s. If we were to write this out, you would have x plus 3 times x plus 3, then x plus 1, x minus 1, x minus 5. So there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 factors with an x in it, so this is a fifth degree polynomial. And the number out front of all the parentheses is a 1, so its leading coefficient is a 1. Okay, scroll down a little bit here. All right, so we're going to be working with polynomial 5 next. Go ahead and pause the video, see if you can fill in the three blanks here. All right, let's take a look at it. Are we in factored or standard form? We are in factored form, and I'll explain why. If this one confused you a little bit, that's fine. All right, the factors that we have here, we have the 0.1, we have the x, and then we have this x plus 4. So there's actually like three distinct things that we see. Notice that the x plus 4 has a degree of 3, or an exponent of 3. So there's actually three of those here. There's an x plus 4 times x plus 4 times x plus 4. And then there's also this negative 0.1 and an x. So there's actually 5 factors here, of which 4, right, 3x plus 4s, and this x have x's in them, right? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 linear factors. Right, so I'll put that as a degree 4. Now the leading coefficient is the number out front, right? So we have a negative 0.1 out front of this whole thing, so its leading coefficient is negative 0.1. Right, something else to keep in mind, that negative, right, does the same thing as it always does with functions. It's going to reflect that function over the x-axis, all right? So that negative tells us a lot about the direction of the polynomial. All right, go ahead and pause the video again. Let's take a look at polynomial 6. All right, let's see how we did. So this one, right, this one is going to be in standard form. I don't see any parentheses here, and I see two terms, and these two terms are being subtracted, right? So that's how I can tell we are in standard form here. So we have two terms, and I'm going to write standard form for this one, and its degree. So I go to the highest exponent, which is a 4 here on this term, and it's a degree of 4. Okay, and again, we go right back to that term to look at the number in front. We don't see anything, so we get to assume that it's a 1, right? So its leading coefficient is 1. All right, pause your video, try polynomial 7. All right, let's see, polynomial 7, we've got factored form for sure. Factored. And I'm going to take a look at my factors, right? There's 0.2, there's x plus 1, x minus 3, and x plus 4. All right, so if I'm counting up how many of these factors have an x in it, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? That x by itself is a factor, and it's got an x in it. So there's 4 factors with an x in it, so this is a fourth degree polynomial. The leading coefficient is the number out front, which is a 0.2. All right, last one here, pause the video, try polynomial 8. All right, let's see how we did. So this one, we are in standard form. We have several different terms, not factors here, terms, right? The terms, I'm going to underline those here for you. So those are all the terms, and they are being added and subtracted. So this is standard form. Okay, and then we look at the degree. So I look at the term that has the highest degree. So you'll notice this one doesn't have an x in it, so we say that's a 0 degree term. This one has an x, so this is first degree, second degree, third degree, And then finally, we get up here to this x, which has a exponent of 4. So this is a fourth degree polynomial. Okay. The coefficient on that highest degree term right here is a 1. And that finishes off the table. All right. So hopefully that helped you out with a lot of the little caveats, the little things that we can see in different polynomials that might trip you up. That's kind of the point of this table, is so that no matter what they throw at you in terms of a polynomial, whether it's factored or standard, or they try and do things like this where they put an exponent on one of the parentheses, hopefully that sheds some light on how to handle those things. All right, so I'd go ahead and start on the homework. Should have about 2 or 3 problems for you there to try and practice this again, and then post in the discussion board. All right, thanks guys. Have a good day.